Take a breath. Welcome to Space to Exhale, the podcast, weekly inspiration for self-care and soft living. I am your host, Lisa Hurley. I'm a 5-time Anthem Award winner, second-generation Reiki master and community builder, and I'm the author of the book, Space to Exhale. Through healing modalities like breathwork, affirmations, and meditations, I'll guide you on a life-changing journey to help you know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and create much-needed space to exhale. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Space to Exhale, the podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hurley, and I'm here to remind us all to slow down, take a breath, say no to hustle culture, and yes to a life of ease. My guest today is Jelan Agnew. Jelan is an award-winning international keynote and TEDx speaker, facilitator, and transformation coach. With over 20 years of experience in the mental health field, Jelan brings both clinical insight and personal experience into her engaging and transforming style. Jelan's work centers on guiding participants to integrate rest, ease, and flow into their lives so they can experience more balance and joy. And as I learned just before we started the show, Jelan is also a professional frolicker. So, Jelan, welcome.
That was my favorite part of the introduction. Thank you.
Oh my God, thanks for saying yes to being my guest. And thank you for being here. I am so looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
And before we get started, as you know, we're going to start by getting a little grounded. I know you have your incense going on. You've set the whole vibe. And so we're going to take a few breaths. We're going to take a moment to exhale. So let's you and I do it, and everybody who has joined us, whether you are team live, team replay, whether you're watching or listening, take a moment now and close your eyes. Move your shoulders down from your ears. And move your head gently from side to side. Move your head gently front to back. Now bring your head back to center. And I want us all together to take a few breaths. Breathe in through your nose, slowly. Inhale. And exhale through your mouth. And one more time, inhale and exhale. And again, inhale and exhale. Okay, and then come back into the room with your eyes. Okay, and before we get into the interview, I want us all to focus on today's affirmation, which is, I'm giving myself permission to recalibrate my life. I'm giving myself permission to recalibrate my life. So as we go through today's show, right, which is called Recalibration Session, Getting Your Life in Alignment, keep that affirmation in mind. And so without any further ado, Jelan, let's get into it. I'm so excited for this.
Me too.
So you have been in the mental health field for more than 20 years now. And I don't know how, because your face is only 20 years old, but that's another topic for another time. Right. So, but before like all the, the speaking and the coaching and all of that you're doing now, what initially drew you to go into becoming like a licensed clinical social worker?
I was drawn to the work. I was drawn to humans. I'm really fascinated by the human brain. And
Mm-hmm.
so I learned a lot. I was a behavioral therapist, so I learned a lot about why we do the things we do,
Mm-hmm.
um, why we shift, why we don't shift. And I think if we can figure out, we can learn about motivation, if we can learn about what happens before the behavior, then
Yeah.
we can shift things a little bit easier. So I was fascinated by the human brain, and it just led me down this path of
Mm-hmm.
social work and clinical social work, and I worked in all aspects of the field while I was in it.
Okay. Wow. Wow. And so when you think about, again, you've gone through your own recalibration, no doubt, several times.
A couple times, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you think about, the baby clinician, so to speak, that you
Yeah.
were at the beginning of your career, and like, what did that version of you understand about healing, and
Mm.
what does the person, the clinician, the coach, that you are today understand about healing? What did you have to learn, unlearn? Yeah,
Yeah.
what's that journey been like?
I think one of the biggest thing I learned is that healing is a process, right?
Mm,
And sometimes we think we can take the steps and we can do the thing and read the books and listen to the podcasts, but it is a
mhm.
very internal process. So
Yes.
it is really important to be clear about what it is that you want and what you don't want. And I think as a young social worker, I was like, I'm going to save the world. Like, it's going to be me. I'm going to be the one to change the system and dismantle the system. And now I'm kind of like, everyone's on their own journey. I'm at a place where, as interesting as this may sound, everybody is not meant to heal. I don't believe everybody wants to heal. I think some people like to talk about healing. So in this 41-year-old body, just recognizing that people who want to heal um, have a internal process to go through, and that's not everyone that comes to you. I had to learn that the hard way. Because people will say they want to, and then you end up kind of pulling harder than them, or
Mhm.
trying to do things more than them. And the biggest thing I learned was kind of to mind my business in a way. I can't be more responsible for other people's lives than they are. So to take a step back, be in my own energy, and invite people into their own transformation. That's where I am these days.
Ooh, now that is deep. Sometimes people don't want to heal.
Learned it the hard way.
Learned it the hard way. Without, of course, revealing any details.
Yeah.
Can you share maybe like a hard lesson? Like you said, you learned it the hard way. What was one of the hard ways that you learned it,
Yeah.
that you could safely share?
One of the hard ways is I would be more stressed than the person,
Mm,
or I would be more, I'd come into session, or whatever job I was working, and
right.
just be really adamant on change, and I can't change for the person. So I think when I realized that I was more stressed than them, it helped me to kind of shift and allow. And there's also an ego to it, because why do I feel more in charge of that person's life than they are? So sometimes I feel like with healers, our egos can try to force people to change. And what I learned was to kind of take the passenger seat and allow people to do what it is they want to do. So when I was more stressed than other people, I was like, okay, we have to learn some other relationship to being a healer than for me to be carrying everybody's stuff while they're kind of just going about their regular lives.
Yeah, I had to. It's a completely different modality, but I would say maybe in some ways a similar journey. I'm a Reiki master. My mom is, my sister is, I am, and you do it. It is easy to become tied up in, you're the healer,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to you are the facilitator of somebody's healing.
Healing.
And those are two completely different things,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because for people like myself in the journey, in that kind of journey, which is more like energetic healing. But it's the same thing, really, right? I am not doing the healing.
Right.
Energy, if you believe in that thing, right? That kind of thing, right? If you believe in prayer, let's say, right? The prayer is doing the work. The energy is doing. You are not doing it.
Right. Right.
You are the conduit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It is not your personal force and strength and
Yes.
all of that. You are the
Yes.
conduit. And so I definitely see a relation between what you shared and your journey through that and some of what I've experienced as well. So that's
Yeah.
for saying that is very, very easy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I would say in some ways even more easy in some of the spiritual mind body modalities, because everybody loves a guru, right?
Right.
They don't want to go and sit at the foot of the guru, whoever that guru might be,
Right.
and be like, oh, I got enlightenment. And I'm not saying that can't happen.
Right.
That can absolutely happen, but there can be a dangerous dynamic between the guru that believes too much in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
the ego part that you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and the person who gives up too much of their own autonomy and
Yes.
strength.
Yes.
And there's another word I'm looking for that I can't find, but you probably know it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
But whatever that other word is, they give up too much of it.
Yeah.
Agency.
Agency.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Too much
Yes.
of their agency to this person.
Right.
Right. So yeah, interesting, very interesting conversation. This
Yeah.
is why somebody was asking me the other day why I like doing this podcast. It's because of conversations like this. You never know
Right.
where they are going to go, what you're going to learn, where they're going to end up, what connections are going to be made. And so
Yeah.
thank you for that. I mean, that alone, that was
It's so
right.
It's so important, especially to the healers watching. It's shifting from the hero to the guide. That's been the biggest transformation. And it's not a fix me model. It's a here's the information, I'm sending you the energy, and then you be the steward of that energy in your own life.
Yeah. I wrote an edition of my newsletter this past Sunday, and I was talking about, sometimes one wants to be the sage on the stage. Sometimes you are, in fact, the guide on the side. Or in my case, in this particular, what I was writing about, the maiden in the messy middle, right?
Right. Oh, I love that. The sage on the stage, the guide on the side. I love that.
Because and you can be all three at different times.
At different times.
Nothing is wrong with sometimes being the sage on the stage. And by the way, speaking of that, you are such a good speaker.
Well, thank you.
Oh my goodness. People,
I'm one
hire
of the people
her. That's all I have to say. Hire her. She's excellent.
I'm one of the people that got talked too much on my report card. So I said, let me turn it into the business. Hello, I'm going to yap now.
People, but didn't people say the same thing about Oprah?
That's true. That's true.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Anyway. Professional yapper.
Yeah, that's it. I got needs to focus. Come to find out I have ADHD, but okay.
I call it neurospicy. One of those brains that does what it wants. I allow it to, because I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting my brain.
Like, first of all, y'all stuff is boring, so I'm not focusing. Make your stuff more interesting. Let's start there.
Right.
Anyway, oh my god, I hate her. But okay, so when I was, doing some of my research on you, and you have just the most fascinating backstory, right? And it involves, trips to the IU. It involves run-ins with burnout, run-ins with alcohol, all kinds of stuff, before and after transformation, the hero's journey, the whole thing, right? You're a whole now, right? And at some point you said that you realized that you were performing life rather than living it.
Yes.
Right? And so you had like all of the markers of success. If anybody were looking at your life and achievements on paper,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of chaos,
So much.
a lot of
Right.
chaos, a lot of confusion. So
Mhm.
what underneath the paper, right? Underneath all the boxes that you checked, like what was really going on that led you to burning out and being in the ICU and realizing that there was an alcohol issue? What led
Yeah.
you there? Yeah.
I think that wanting to be the helper so much, I was not paying attention to my own mental health and my own health. And what really was the catalyst for my burnout was being a therapist during the pandemic.
Oh,
There were,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah, like
Yeah.
all of our private practice, because I had a private practice at the time, all of our practices overnight were full
Mhm, mhm.
because everybody's trying to process this horrible thing that's going on in the world. And I'm talking to nurses and doctors and listening to death and trauma all day. And that started to, and then we're working from home. So there's no separation now. And there's death and trauma swirling around my house. And, I'm taking on, took on all these extra cases and all these extra things and overextending. And that was the time when it started to decline very quickly because I wasn't taking care of myself and I wasn't allowing myself the room to take a break or any of those things. So being in that place, just wanting to be the helper. And I think this happens to a lot of helpers
Yep.
because we want to be there for everyone. But I was neglecting myself and it ultimately led me to burnout and realizing that my life wasn't in alignment. It wasn't in alignment with who I was at that time. When I started as a baby social worker, it was aligned. But as I got older, I realized that there are other ways to be a healer other than being a therapist. And that's when things started to really shift for me.
Mhm. So, I want to delve in a little bit too. You say that you realize that you were burned out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Realize you have an alcohol issue, and these are not like the core topics that we're talking about, but I do want to maybe help some people realize, like, how did you realize
Yeah.
that you were burned out? How did you realize, if you care to share? I
Yeah.
don't want to push you. How did you realize that there was an alcohol problem? And I, just to let you know, I grew up, a COA, right?
Mm.
Adult child of an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So I grew up, I grew up in,
Yeah.
I have familiarity, let's say.
Yeah.
So just putting that out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't want you to feel like you're kind of like out here
Oh
on
no,
your
this
own.
this is part of the story that I tell. So it's
Okay.
because
Okay.
it needs to be told. I
Yeah.
think there will be studies about therapists who struggle with alcohol during COVID. I really believe they will start coming out as we get further
Yeah.
away from that in that time. But I knew I was burning out because my health was failing. I lost a lot of weight really quickly. I wasn't sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't eating. I didn't have an appetite. It was kind of, I felt like I was just numb and just moving forward.
Right.
And I ended up, my body started shutting down. And I feel like, I love us healers. I love you. When I say I love us, I'm gonna say something a little bit disrespectful after. I love us, but it shouldn't take the ICU. That's where I ended up
Right.
to realize that there's something happening within your body. And here I
Mhm.
am teaching mindfulness. Here I am teaching healing modalities. Here I am being a healer and completely neglecting myself. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes we think there is valor in that. We walk around and talk about how tired we are and how much we worked and it's one of those things where if your
Mhm.
identity rests in the overwork, then you
Woo!
will continue to overwork even when your body is telling you something different. I'm very stubborn. So the only thing that was going to stop me was me ending up in the ICU for 5 days. That was the only thing that was going to have me sit down and really say, what am I doing? Like, what is all of this about?
So on the day, I for different reasons, I was in the IC, not sorry, not in the ICU. Let me not. I was in the ER
Mm.
last week Monday, right? I've had a migraine for the past month or so. It's horrible.
Mm.
And what led you to know, okay, I have to go to the ICU?
Yeah.
Did did you check yourself in? Did you admit yourself
Mm-hmm.
or to the hospital? And then somebody said, did you go to the ER? And then they said, oh no, you need the ICU. Like what
Yeah.
led to that?
I went to the ER, first of all, because my clients, my therapy clients, even though I closed my practice, they're still my family. So I hopped on a call that day, and my client was like, "You're not looking good. Did you meditate today?" She looking at me like, when's the last time you took a break? When my client started to lecture me, then I knew it was getting real. So I went to the ER. I get to the ER, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you in the ICU." And it was just this whirlwind of, it was just so interesting. And one of the pieces in the struggle with alcohol is that I was a therapist. So one of my fears about getting the help I needed was to walk into somewhere and have a colleague be there. Or have a supervisor be there, or run.
So you were feeling pre-shame.
Yes, I was feeling pre-shame, and I couldn't get the help I needed because I had fear about being discovered. But it wasn't until my body said, well, I'm going to sit down. I don't know what you're going to do. I'm going to sit down. It wasn't until that moment when I was in the ICU and I had nowhere to go. That I really sat down and assessed my life, because I had a 2-family house. I had a red Mercedes-Benz. I had a successful business. I was teaching at a university. I was in real estate school. I was, building an empire. And when I got to the ICU, I'm like, what is this empire for?
Yeah, none of it mattered, right?
Like what is the purpose of all of this? And I couldn't answer the question. And when I couldn't answer the question, I said, no, we need to add some purpose into this. So that was January 2021, and that was the beginning of a huge unfolding where everything fell away and I rebuilt something completely different.
Yeah. Wow. So it sounds to me like that was the beginning of probably your most major recalibration, because like private practice closed down, right? Right? The private practice is gone, right? Sold the home, paid off your student loans, moved to Mexico. Very importantly, got sober, started working out, just all the things. Like that is a major, not just transformation, but like, as you call it, a recalibration.
Yeah.
And so what had to change internally for all of those external changes to show up? Because you said, okay, so you had the realization, you had that aha moment.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of I don't want to say real estate because you're in it, but there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room in real estate between the realization and the action, right? And we were gonna get there, but I guess we can get there now.
We're here.
The waiting room.
You
talk about the waiting room. Is that the waiting room?
Yes.
Okay. And so tell us for those who have not researched you at length.
Yeah.
Guilty.
We did the same to each other.
Right. Tell our viewers and listeners what the waiting room is.
Yeah. So the waiting room is the liminal space between who you were and who you becoming. It's that in between identities. Yes, and that was the very beginning of my waiting room. And like you said, since then, from then, January 2021 till now, I sold the house, sold the red Mercedes-Benz, paid off the student loans, moved to Mexico. I'm 5.5 years sober from alcohol, and I lost 70 pounds. So I am a 100% different human than I was when I left the ICU. And
you lost how many pounds?
70 pounds.
Okay, I just want people to hear that because it came across as 7, but I know I researched, so I'm like, I know it was 70. So I want people to hear that 70 pounds.
Yes,
it says 7 is important. Yeah. 7 is important. I recently lost 5, and I feel great about myself. But 70 is a whole lot. And so, how did you? What was your first step? You have the aha moment, right? What was your first step? Then you're like, okay, I need to. Did you realize Was it a conscious realizing, okay, I have to put action behind it? And did you start making your bulleted lists?
No,
And like, what happened?
no, it wasn't action at first.
Mm,
It was reflection. Because
mm-hmm.
here's what I know: if you don't understand the reasons behind your patterns, you will recreate the same life again. And I did not want to recreate the same life again, because going to a new environment, moving, none of that, it will matter. You will recreate the same experience again. So it wasn't a to-do list. It
Right,
was it was a reflective space that I entered.
right.
The first thing I did when I got home was give the alcohol away. I still had alcohol in my house, gave it away. And let me just say, since I left that ICU, I have not had a desire or urge for alcohol. It was a spiritual experience for me to be in that
Right.
ICU. And I honestly believe I was between worlds. And I was really, I always say, like the guides told me, you got two options. You can go back, or you can live the life of your dreams. And when I left, the first step was to give away the alcohol. And then I
Right.
started to remove things. So the first step is to
Mm-hmm.
release, remove. I started giving stuff away. I
Mm-hmm.
started emptying out my space. I opened up the windows. I started writing. I leaned back into my one of my other past lives, because there's 18 of them. I used to sing and
Right.
dance and
Mm-hmm.
act. So I started leaning into the creative outlets that I had.
Mm,
And it was really a practice of rediscovering the things. I believe at one point I taught mindfulness. I believe that our hobbies are our chosen mindfulness practices.
yes.
So all the things that I do mindlessly, I just leaned into them. And then I started to discover more about myself and what I really wanted. And it's specifically for high achieving women, it's specifically for successful women. We have been so into that checklist that we don't even really know what we want. So when I asked myself the question of what do I want, I had no idea, no clue what I wanted to do. So it's the first step is to remove old energy so I can allow new energy into my life. And that was a very healing process. It was also a form of grieving for the old things and the old self that I knew I was releasing.
Oh my gosh, that sounds beautiful and healing and intense. Um, yeah, it sounds like a lot. And so I would imagine that a lot of people, myself included, um, probably have been in the waiting room, maybe are in the waiting room,
Yeah.
and but it feels like stuckness.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so how do you realize, and is there a difference between being stuck and being in the waiting room? And if so, how do you recognize the difference?
Yeah. I think I think being stuck and being in the waiting room, it depends on how you look at it. One thing I know is that I am very into trees. I'm a nerd, and uh, I was watching a documentary. Whenever I say that, it was a TikTok. So I was watching a documentary, and it talked about, and it's
TikTok can teach, though. University of TikTok
yes,
is a real
thank
thing.
you. It's great
Yes.
information, and the subject was that trees begin to change at a cellular level for the upcoming season. So trees begin to change for the winter seasons before it comes. And so when my definition of transformation is changing at a cellular level to prepare for the upcoming season. So I was not aware that I was in a waiting room. I was not aware that I was preparing a new life, but I knew that there was something else for me. I knew there was something else out there. And instead of doing like we tend to do, successful women, you don't need another degree, you don't need another certification, you don't need no, instead of going down that road, because you already know I was looking at PhDs.
Listen,
You already know that was the
we
first step.
love a
We love a
certificate
good
and a piece of
degree.
paper. We love
Okay,
it.
we love a good degree, but
Yeah.
that wasn't what I needed at the time. What I needed at
Mhm.
the time was to be honest with myself about what I truly wanted, and all I could say was that I knew I wanted to live at the beach and have a beautiful community of people. That's all I knew. So just knowing that, that's where I started to kind of envision. I'm a huge manifester. I'm a huge visualization person. So every day when I visualized and meditated, I would imagine the beach. And then I started putting on, YouTube videos of the beach. And then I would envision and imagine myself at the beach. And I didn't know where I was going. I just know the feeling I wanted to have. And that's what I want to say to you as well is don't focus on acquiring things. Focus on how you want to feel. Because that will help you lean into the things that already make you feel that way. And so as I was building out this new life, it wasn't like, all right, check. It was more like, you know what? I really want to visit this new place. I really want to try this new thing. I really want to be curious about this. Somebody lives near the beach. Let me hop on the phone and talk to them about what it feels like. It was more about curiosity and exploration. That's what helped me to build this life in alignment.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. And so like the feeling and the emotion and the experience, whether that was via YouTube, via talking to someone, or maybe let's say you went to the beach for a day,
right?
That day, right? Before you actually lived there.
Yeah.
So the experience became the magnet.
Yes, the experience became the magnet. And anytime I wanted to feel joyful. I wanted to feel peaceful. I wanted to be able to frolic. I wanted to feel supported. I wanted to feel excited about my life. So anytime I would have any of those feelings, I would say, what was I doing? Who was I with? What was I eating? I was paying attention to my surroundings so I could lean into those activities, lean into those people, and lean into that thing. And that it was an exploration of experience. That's what helped me to build it out.
Right. So actually, I mean, I said the experience became the magnet, but it really is a combination of experience, of emotion and experience.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the feeling and the experience. Okay.
And let me say too that being present in the experience is necessary. Because a lot of times we can be physically somewhere and our minds can be somewhere else. So, and that's why I say this is a really reflective process, because if you're not present for the experiences, then you don't even know what you like. You don't even know what things feel like. So a lot of this too is dropping back down into your body and understand what feels good, what feels aligned, and what feels misaligned too. It's important to know what misalignment feels like in your body, not in your mind, in your body. That's really important.
That's true. And that mindfulness work, you mentioned something about doing hobbies mindlessly. And so when you said that, it sort of sparked a thought for me that actually the mindlessness becomes the mindfulness.
Ooh, yes.
You know,
yes.
So you know, whether it is your singing or your whatever you enjoy or used to enjoy that you bring back, and whatever you used to do mindlessly now becomes part of your mindfulness practice, even though it might not feel like it. It might feel like you're quote unquote just having fun, but the just having fun is the mindfulness.
Right. And wasting time too. I remember speaking to someone and talking about having joyful experiences, and they told me they felt like that was a waste of time. But that literally is what we're here for as humans, is to have experiences. So, and I want to say too that your body is very intuitive. Yes. Your body will tell you a lot about what feels good, what's aligned. I can tell you, people ask me all the time, how did I end up moving to Mexico? I was actually dating cities, I call it, which is something I teach my coaching clients. So like before you do the thing, go try it out, go and explore it. So I went to Atlanta and LA and San Diego and DMV area. I was dating cities to feel how things felt. And I had a friend who lived at the beach. So I saw her at the beach, slid in her DM and was like, yo, like, what y'all got going over there in Mexico? And she said, just come visit me just come stay with me for a week. Yeah. And my first night in Mexico, I slept, I closed my eyes, and I woke up to the sound of my alarm. I told you I was having sleeping issues.
Yes.
So the fact that with no TV on, no sound, so the fact that my body felt safe enough and rested enough to sleep through the night told me something about being on this land. And that was one of the major reasons I decided to come here, because my body told me I feel safe enough to sleep through the night. That's something I need to go experience.
Oh, that is beautiful. Beautiful. And yes, it makes such a difference to pay attention to those keys and those signals from your body,
Yeah.
because your body will absolutely tell you sometimes before your mind has caught up.
Right.
You know, sleeping well for the first time in months or even years after having
Years.
not slept well is a
Yeah.
huge signal, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
a big clue that okay, maybe this might be for me, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so we've talked a bit about the waiting room and that feeling for some people of stuckness because it can feel like you're
Oh, yeah.
in limbo, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so, and if you're in limbo, sometimes you feel like, okay, I want to get out of here,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So how what changes when we start treating the waiting room as who am I becoming while I'm here
Hmm.
versus how can I get out of here
Right.
most quickly? Yeah,
Right. When we
yeah.
start treating it as who am I becoming, it becomes
Mhm.
fun. And I want to say fun too, because I really feel like as successful women, as high achieving women, we need to factor in more fun. It becomes
Yes.
a exploration. I tell people all the time, they're like, what are you doing next? What are you? I'm like, this is all a scientific experiment. I'm just testing out theories. I really don't know what's going on half the time. So if it could be something that's fun for you to explore and see how things feel, and also realize too that you're in a time of preparation. Like
Yeah.
people will tell me that they want something to happen. Like I hear all the time that women want to live a soft life,
Mhm.
but you don't want to delegate no task.
Yes.
like like you
You gotta let some of that stuff go.
Yeah, like you want to be the hero and you want a peaceful life, but you want to drop down and save everybody. There's certain
Mhm.
ideologies and behavioral patterns that you have to release before you get out of the waiting room, because you're gonna go recreate the same thing again. Like my analogy is, those people who win the lottery and they end up broke again. Is because
Yes.
they didn't have the skills to maintain it. The waiting room is for you to develop the skills to maintain the life that you say you want.
Mm-hmm.
You want to upgrade your look. You want to look different. You want to appear different, but your closet is full.
Mm-hmm.
You want to feel good. You want to feel free, but all of your relationships are taking more than they're giving to you. Like there's work. You got work to do. You in
Yeah.
there because you got work to do, and it's not the preparation is not anything external. It's really looking at the patterns, and I want to say patterns because patterns is really really important. I've seen
Mhm.
people move and then find the same kind of friend. I've seen people
Yes.
get out of a relationship and meet the same person in another body. So it's not
Mhm.
about changing your external environment. If you don't get aware of the behavior patterns and beliefs that you have, then you will recreate what happens in the next level. And another thing I want to say too is sometimes releasing the title is what you need to do to get out of the waiting room.
Say more about that.
I was watching a documentary, and it and it said we are
What's the name of this documentary? So we can find it on Netflix.
right,
Okay, but moving on,
okay,
moving on.
and
Yeah.
and they were saying like you only rent the title. The your title is only one way that your purpose manifests. It is not the only way. So when I was stuck to when I was tied to being a therapist as my title, it didn't allow for me to be a coach. It didn't allow for me to be a speaker. It didn't allow for me to expand my purpose, to expand the mission, because I was so stuck to that title. So sometimes it's releasing the title, it's releasing the role, it's releasing the way you saw yourself. That's going to help you shift into the next level too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And back to what you said about, um, sometimes needing to, you keep on encountering the same person, relationship, patterns, whatever, because as the saying goes, wherever you go, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the work really needs to be internal, including the work of whether it is, releasing your attachment to the title,
Mm-hmm.
including the work of releasing whatever it is. And in your case, you're lucky because you were able to spiritually release what kept you tied to alcohol. For a lot of
Yeah.
people,
Yes.
this is not to trivialize what you went through. I'm going to
Yeah.
use the word easy. I'm not saying that what you went through was easy,
Mm-hmm.
but I think given your career, maybe you understand what I mean,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
My let me not out anybody, but the people in my life who have been affected by alcohol have been in AA for decades,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And happily so, living a fulfilled life and so on. But it definitely was not an off switch,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is not the same at all, so not comparing. But when I went vegan, I had to go vegan for health reasons because I have eye issues, and when I did it, um, I literally did it overnight. But that's because I was in so much pain. I was like, I'm gonna just have to. I have to do it.
Right.
But I had struggled with other things, eating wise and so on beforehand. But you have to change what's in here.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's a case of wherever you go, there you are. So you're going to bring along the same thought patterns, mindsets,
Mm-hmm.
behaviors, all of what you have always been,
Yes.
all of who you've always been is going to come with you.
Yes.
So if you want to change the future, then you have to change some of those patterns.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely agree with that.
It's necessary. It's when I moved to Mexico to be 3 years in October, and I recreated the same hustle. For the first year I was here, my schedule was just as packed as it was in the US.
Interesting.
I didn't
Okay.
even see the beach.
Really? Okay,
I was
tell me
working.
more.
I was working. I was hustling. And then I said, well, hold on now.
Ah,
Didn't you leave the burnout? And then you just made the burnout in a different country in Espanol.
now you have tropical burnout.
Okay, come on,
Right.
you said burnout in Espanol. Like, what are you doing? But that's what I mean about the behavioral pattern and the identity. My identity was so tied up in being I'm the entrepreneur. I'm the. But you know what helped is that in my experience outside of the U.S., nobody asks you what you do for work.
Right.
So learning who I was outside of my career was a part of this transformation that happened. My identity was still tied into my career, even though I moved to a completely different country. So that's another part of undoing I had to do is who am I outside of my career? And that was one of the last steps in the full transformation that happened is learning who I actually am outside of that. So a lot of this is identity work and recognizing that so much of what we believe we will create because what we see inside our minds is what we create on the outside.
That's so true. Lord. Woo. I have so many thoughts about what you just said. And also, I'm like, wait, am I in a recalibration section right now?
We're in a session right now, yes.
I mean, I have edges, but I think I might have snatched them.
You know that people do say that. Ask any one of my clients, they're like, "And you snatch my edges." But it's fascinating because these are the things we need to hear, but they're also things we don't necessarily think about. Like I come from a long line of my mother always had 3 jobs, my grandmother always had 3 jobs, and I'm American, but my family's from the islands, so I got Black woman and Caribbean woman, upbringing. You get to work, you do the work, you don't complain about it. My grandmother used to say, the more you cry, the less you pee. Get back in there. Nobody. Okay, nobody wants to hear all of that. So I'm like,
grandmothers just be saying,
listen, Granny, and she said what she said, and she meant what she meant. But it's also undoing this kind of programming that we had, this generational programming that we had about overextending and overdoing. So it's not easy work. It's like peeling all the layers back. And every time a layer gets peeled back, something in your life changed because you realize that thing was keeping you tethered to 10 other things. And I feel like I need to mention too the grief, because if I change who I am, when I stop drinking, all the people, places, and things that I drank with couldn't be a part of my life anymore. So then you start losing things, you start losing people, you start losing relationships. So then I feel like that's why sometimes people go back. It's because you're like, yeah, I'm changing and I'm feeling better, but you don't realize everybody's not gonna be able to come with you.
Right, right. Well, how do you even navigate that the grief that comes with growth?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because sometimes the identity that you're tied to includes other people,
Mm-hmm.
right? It includes other people being around you. You know, the people, me, and that could be some people that you've known all your life and so
Yeah.
on, friends, family, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And when you realize, wait, I can't, they're not part of this part of my journey,
Yeah.
even though I would like them to be a part of it. That grief can be so devastating.
It's real.
How
How do we
Look,
do
girl, just send me the invoice. Just send me the invoice at this point, because I don't even know what to do. How do you navigate it?
Yeah, it's there's a surrender aspect to this too.
Mm.
There's a part of it that you have to believe that these things are happening to shift you where you need to be.
Mhm.
And the grieving part of it is being grateful for the role that person played or that thing played, being grateful for everything you learned within that relationship, and allowing yourself to shift into new things. Because I've seen people try to bring people along, or I've seen, that thing, but it's almost like I'm gonna age myself. Think about like the radio, right? If you're on 101.3 and this person's on 101.5, you guys simply are not in the same frequency, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's not personal. It's life almost.
I mean, it is, grief, I think, is an inherent part of life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if it can ever be escaped. And actually, when I was prepping for this episode, one of the questions I asked you was, what's your favorite part of, one of the parts you like from Space to Exhale, and you said gratitude is a verb.
Yeah.
And so now here we are,
Yeah.
and we're talking about gratitude, and I want to sit with it for a minute, because gratitude, or being grateful, it can become something that we say, or something that we do out of obligation, or say out of obligation, rather than being a way that we really live or really feel. And so what I want to ask you is, how does genuine gratitude, what does it look like in the life that you are living right now? Your wonderful, aligned, recalibrated, joyful life that you're living in Mexico right now.
Yeah, gratitude is in the small things. It's in the big things, but it's in the small things too. One of my favorite things to do is like watch children play. So as and when they get in trouble in Spanish, it's so funny because their mothers are talking so fast, and it's I love it. But so when I have those moments, did you see the joy that just came into my life? Just explaining that. I noticed.
Yes.
I notice. So the way I experience gratitude is I notice when things come into my view, or my sight, or my smell, and I notice when those things happen, and I allow myself to sit in that moment. Because what happens, we think we got to be, gratitude is for the big things.
Right.
Gratitude is for the little things too. Gratitude is for the coffee I made this morning. Gratitude is for the fact that I'm here on this show right now. Gratitude is for, it's all the small things. I woke up this morning and this bird was more talkative than usual. So I woke up a little earlier than usual. And I wanted to be like, what are you out there saying? But it was like, I'm so grateful that I can live somewhere where I can wake up to the sound of birds. So it's always shifting into noticing what things bring you that kind of, that human joy, the little pieces of it. Because the more you do that, the more you notice the gratitude, it starts to expand into just the way you always are, the way things always happen. So it's definitely a practice, though. I want to say that too. It's not just something
Yes.
that comes inherent. It's a practice to notice the things that are going well, and even the things that are not going well. Being grateful for people who didn't make it, you know. And
Mhm.
I'm one of those people who sometimes I know things before other people know things. And recently I was right about somebody. I got gratitude for that too, because I got myself out the way, and now they're
Yeah.
exposing themselves, and I'm grateful for that too. So it's also
Yeah.
grateful for the things you didn't engage with, for the
Mhm.
people that didn't come with you. So it's just
Mhm.
it's gratitude about being in your current human experience, whatever that is.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm grateful for discernment.
Oh,
I I definitely had
okay.
an experience, right? I had an experience like that just very recently. I don't want to say too much, but
Mm-hmm.
I was right about something and someone,
Mm-hmm.
and but that meant that I was prepared
Right.
for what followed because I knew it was coming.
Right. Exactly.
I knew it
Discernment.
was coming. But anyway, so speaking of joy and so on, like um what does like the former version of you,
Mm.
right? What does the present version of you look back on and think about the past version of you and think, oh girl, we're not going back there again. We never do that again. Like, oh heck no.
you
Absolutely
know,
not.
I get the anniversary pictures through my phone and through my Facebook sometimes, and I'm like, ooh, oh man, it was I was struggling.
Mm,
But I'm so grateful for that version of me. I'm grateful for because she kept going.
yeah.
Despite all of the things, she kept going. She kept showing up. She kept being curious, and she created this life that I live. So I look back now, and I'm like, "Ooh, Lord."
Mhm.
But I'm also very grateful for that version of me because she paved the way for this, and I learned so much
Mm,
when I was in those spaces. I learned so much in the waiting room. I learned so much from failure. Failure is one of my favorite teachers. I learned so much from all of those things. So when I look back, gratitude is what comes up more so than anything else, because I wouldn't have had this. This is a really cool story to tell. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
yeah.
grateful for the story I get to tell, and coming on the other side, and everybody who hears, who's in a dark place, who's in the waiting room, who's struggling right now. I'm grateful that my words get to reach you too, because you're not going to be there forever.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And we've we've just let the conversation go where it needed to go, and so this is a little bit backwards. But can you explain to everybody
Yeah.
what a recalibration?
This is what I love.
I
The
was like,
yapping.
wait, did we ever explain this? I don't think we did. But tell folks
Yeah.
what that offering is, because I think it is really important that people know that it is something that you offer and what it is, what its purpose is, what its function is, how
Yeah.
useful it is, how helpful it is. And in fact, we've kind of sort of been doing one a
Yeah.
little bit right now. But yeah, tell people what it is. Tell people what it really is and why you created it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really important to me to create a session or a space. I believe
Mhm.
that the waiting room is a sacred space, and
Mhm.
it is a space for preparation and a space to envision. So I created this session as a way. It's a 90-minute session. And what we do in the session is we get down to the bottom of what it is that you really want so that you can be clear. And one of my things is you're going to get 3 next steps. We are not reinventing the world in 90 minutes.
Mhm.
You're going to get 3 steps into what it is you actually want to do so you can begin to create the life you want. But I
Right.
created the session because I feel like, especially high achieving women, sometimes we have a hard time asking for help. And I wanted to be that guide who can get down into, and let me say this too, this is where I really use my clinical skills. So when I was a therapist, we had 60 minutes to assess,
Right.
diagnose, and create a treatment plan. So I'm really using those skills in it. When we're in the session, it sounds like we're yapping, but what I'm really trying to check for is those patterns we talked about.
Mhm,
The
mhm,
patterns that are keeping you tethered, I say tethered to the current
mhm.
level. So we can start to address the beliefs and the patterns. I want to make you aware of those so we can shift into something else. One that I recently had a calibration center session, and my question was, what color is your next level? And she's
Ooh.
looking at me like, what kind of question is that? And then she said orange. And then she realized that she wanted to paint her room orange as a kid. And then she realized her favorite teddy bear wore orange. And then she realized her favorite dress is orange, but she didn't want to wear it because she didn't feel comfortable in it. And then she remembered that she used to love to sing, and she had this vision of herself wearing an orange dress singing. What was her step one? Go sing karaoke in your orange dress. And I got a
Wow.
DM on LinkedIn that said, it's 3 a.m. in Canada right now, but I just left the stage, and that has shifted something within my spirit. And I am so grateful for that call. So the steps are not going to be for you to, it's not a checklist step. It's a
Yeah,
step
yeah, yeah.
to unlock the things that are keeping you stuck, because I believe the way you do one thing is the way you do all things. So
Yes.
now, when she goes into her business, whatever courage that allowed her to wear that dress on that stage is the same courage she's going to show up on those calls with. So it really is a session to help you unlock a safe space for you to pause and reflect, and a time for you to get clear about what it is that you actually want. And it's 90 minutes, but I guarantee you the edges will be snatched. I mean, we're only 56 minutes in right now, and we're all edgeless right now. Like,
Listen. I feel like even if I didn't have my hair buzzed, it would look like this anyway. I feel like you took it down. You took the guard off. I think you took the guard.
Yeah, and it is. Let me say this too. I'm gonna be confronting. I'm gonna ask you questions, because my thing is, do you want to change, or do you want to keep talking about the things in your life you don't want? I'm gonna ask that question too, because this is about shifting and movement. So a session with me is, it'll be fun. We'll be yapping, and I'm also going to understand your brain. That's one thing. Understanding brains. That's my fascination. Once I understand the patterns that keep things going for you, then I can help you pull those away so you can recreate something that's in alignment with who you are now versus who you were when you created the life. Because chances are that's two different people.
Oh my gosh, that sounds absolutely amazing and life changing. And what I can tell is that clearly, um, you are not. It is not a cookie cutter, like you said. It's not a checklist that you go through. Okay, I'm gonna ask this. I'm gonna ask this, and you are obviously speaking individually to each person,
Yes.
fully presently,
Yes.
and asking questions designed for that, like letting the conversation guide you, and then tailoring whatever outputs are needed
Yes.
for that person, because everybody ain't gonna need to go and sing karaoke in an orange
That's
dress.
right.
That
That's not
clearly
everybody's
is
plan.
very specific, right?
Yes, it's very specific to the person.
I absolutely love that, because one does get an impression sometimes working with some coaches, because all coaches are not created equal, and I've seen some unequal ones. Right?
I'm just gonna blink.
I've worked with some unequal coaches, or seen some, and so all coaches are not created equal. And with some of them, you do get a sense that they are just going through the motions, right?
Yes.
You clearly are not going through the motions, and I absolutely love that. I am very happy that we have had this conversation. We're about to come to an end, but I have one more question for you.
Yes.
So, which is, what does having or making space to exhale look like to you right now?
Making space to exhale right now looks like getting rid of all of the things, all of the extra things, and allowing myself to be present for gratitude, because that is one of the most important emotions to feel is grateful.
Mm-hmm. Ah, I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Jelan. This was an absolute joy, and thank you for saying yes Thank you for showing up and just being a pleasure and a light. I love your energy. And thank you for blessing our viewers and listeners. And yes, everybody who has been with us, thank you so much for joining me here on Space to Exhale, the
Yes.
podcast. Goodbye for now. And until next time, remember that you deserve time and space to exhale. See you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you for joining me on Space to Exhale, the podcast. If today's conversation resonated with you, please subscribe, follow the show, and leave a review. Every rating, review, comment, and share helps more people discover these conversations about rest, well-being, healing, and living with greater ease. Join me live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, or catch the replay wherever you listen to your podcasts. To stay connected between episodes, visit spacetoexhalebook.com, subscribe to the Gentle Breath newsletter, and explore my award-winning book, Space to Exhale. Until next time, remember, you do not have to earn rest. You do not have to justify your joy. You do not have to prove your worth. You are already worthy of love, worthy of care, and worthy of having time and space to exhale. Ashe.